Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our regular meeting of council on October 7th, 2025 in Montague Township. A couple of things for news and upcoming events. The MRCC is hosting a kids Halloween dance in Rosedale Hall on October 17th from 7 to 9. There's no cost for attending, and there will be prizes for costumes and boot bags will be available. Contact the MRCC for more information. This week is Fire Prevention Week. That theme this year is change into fire safety, lithium-ion batteries in your home. Lithium-ion batteries are commonly used in rechargeable products, and it's important to know how to use, store, and charge them safely. One other comment I'm going to make: we had the Touch a Truck mining machines. Mining machines on the weekend. Great event. Thanks for everyone that came out and supported. We had a lot of people that came out and really liked it. I really enjoyed sitting in the fire trucks with my son, and one of your new recruits, Miles, came over and explained to us everything about the fire truck and how it worked and everything else, and it was fabulous. He was really knowledgeable, and he said that the training that he gets is impeccable to make sure that he understands everything that has to be done. So that's one of our new recruits, and I thought that was really exciting when I had that conversation with him. So thank you for obviously that great training. And I know Ed's a part of that training crew too as well. So thanks very much for that. I'm going to open our meeting with our land acknowledgement. The council and staff of the Township of Montague acknowledge that the sacred land on which the Township of Montague is now located and this meeting is being held is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin-Shawnee Nation. I'll ask everybody for a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. So open up by saying, moved by Councillor Crabtree and seconded by Councillor Abbas. The regular meeting of council agenda dated October 7th, 2025 be approved as amended. Move items H, C, G, I, K, M, and P from information to action. All in favor? That's carried. Next one is moved by Councillor Abbas, seconded by Councillor Johnson, that the minutes from the public meeting dated September 16th, 2025, the regular meeting of council dated September 16th, 2025 be approved as presented this date. All in favor? That's carried. Any disclosure of interest, say any time during the meeting. My bad, sorry. So the first thing is the delegations on the docket. The first people on is Angie and Ben Stoddard. So you have 10 minutes, and you can, the podium is yours.
Okay, so I built a small home last year, skipped some permits. Shouldn't have done it. Long story short, it is a structurally sound home, but it does need to come down because it's too close to the road allowance. Talked about a minor variance in the past and it was pretty much shut down. You guys aren't willing to do that. So there was a fine that came up, $5,000 fine if it wasn't tore down a certain amount of time. My mother anyways came in and signed that we'll have it down in 30 days and, you know, I'm sorry, don't give us a fine. And the reality of that is it's a fully finished house, like with cabinetry and tiles and, you know, 200 amp service, 30 days to tear it down while I'm working full time is just unreasonable to be able to do unless I just took a dozer to it. Understanding that it does need to come down, which I do. I'm just going over a few different avenues, you know, application for a new home at a different site on the property. With a septic permit, the whole house will not be built this year. Obviously, it's getting to the end of the season. I could get the septic in and the foundation, but I can't leave it open for the winter. But then I could apply for a garage permit also, and I could get the building craned over, which would save me the structure itself. And time to get everything out of it from the inside. I'm just asking for some more time to do it within, like, safely and reasonably. Basically. That's really all. Don't need the whole 10 minutes.
You did not need 10 minutes, that's for sure. Any questions from council at all as far as to the applicant?
I guess I do have questions. Why?
Why did I do it?
Well, I'm wondering why, like was every step skipped? I'm trying to understand the logistics on it, and why it went the way it went, and then, you know, might make more sense to us.
I did apply for a septic permit, so I didn't skip every step. That was well on the go. Just my business was going down in Kentville. I own Benjamin Flooring. Store was slowing down. I had the property and I thought, with all the overhead and the way things are going, I just need to get something up. So, you know, you're paying rent on a place. I had the mortgage on the land because I bought the land when things were going good with intentions to build down the road. Things kind of, well, I mean, look at the world the way it's going right now. Things kind of dried up and I'm like, well, I pay $27.50 for my rent in Kentville. I pay $24.50 for my storefront plus everything. And then I have $1,300 on a mortgage on the land. So, you know, what are you gonna do, right? It's just kind of, did I have an extra, you know, $10,000-$15,000 and the month's waiting time to kind of do it right? Not at the time I didn't, and it was kind of panic mode, fight or flight, right? So we closed the business about 4 months ago. The house was done, and I was like, well, you know, all I gotta do is get my septic put in, which I held off on because I knew eventually I would have to face this. So that's also why I did a small structure. I didn't do anything like crazy that if it all came down to it, well, at least it's not like huge. You know, maybe it would be like, hey, I shouldn't have done that. I had the MPP out to the house yesterday. Nobody's even seen the building like at all. So I had the MPP out because he has property that right behind me. We're neighbors. It's a structurally sound, you know, house. It's not falling down. It's not a danger to anybody to stay up. It would also be nice if I could have it while doing everything as a cold storage. I have, like, I own everything in it. So, you know, all my plumbing, all my piping, if I, you know, the hot water tanks and everything, if it all just kind of goes like that, it's just an unfortunate, it's just unfortunate. So, I mean, ideally, it would be nice to get, you know, like I'm 7 feet off where I should be allowed to be, which I just kind of didn't think about it. I'm like, well, I put it there. I don't know, more lawn maybe, like in the future, you know what I mean? I tuck it over here. It's not very big with plans on building. I even purchased another set of plans to build another house, but I have 20 days now and I'm like, oh my God, like pick a house, get your permits, tear the house down, work full time. There's only one way that place is coming down in 20 days, and so I hooked a tractor up to it and pulled it down. Like I haven't even got the hydro disconnected to do it, because I'm like, well, you have to do that first. Like that could be 30 to 90 days. It's not going to be. I know the lady that works there said, oh, I'd come tomorrow, which sucks. But you know, But it, you know, I could have it disconnected, which I have planned for Thursday, but at the same point, I'm like, now I'm working in the dark out there in my evenings to try and like. So I'm just asking somebody to be reasonable. I had, you know, $120,000 out of my own personal savings to build this, you know, structure to be like, okay, and now it's like tear it down in 20 days. Good luck with that. And I'm like, well, geez, that's kind of harsh.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson.
That's the why.
So how long, how much more time do you think you need?
Well. Winter's coming. I don't know, as much time as I can, like. The new house, like I, you know, like right now, the new house is gonna be in the spring. I can get a septic put in this year. Which does nothing for anything. I can get the garage pad done. And maybe move, you know, the shell, cause I've already spoke to a crane operator, actually my neighbor knows really well. Yeah, we can move it once it's all, but I just need to be able to do it properly, so as much time as I can get, like. It's not gonna fall down. I had another company from Ottawa come out, you know, to see, you know. Is everything okay? Is it danger to anybody? Is it gonna fall on it? It's not, like, it's a structurally sound building,
Do you have an engineer certificate?
you know.
Or how do you know? Do you know what I mean? Like, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like, it's not
You go-
leaning, it's not.
You
that's
go
all
buy an
I'm
Amish
saying.
shed and it's structurally sound, but you can't get signed off on by any architect.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. What I'm saying is that it's not a danger to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, even if it fell down, which like, it's not going to fall down, but it would fall down on my own property on nothing. You know what I mean?
Jeff,
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, Reeve, I forgot, I should be looking over the screen there. Yeah, take it away there.
it's all good. So I just looking for clarification. Ben is looking to have an extension on the demolition, but there's no occupancy during this time.
There's
You're going to
no-
be elsewhere?
Yep, already, like, long time ago done. There's like nothing in the house left anyways, except for the structure of the house. And a lazy boy, which I left to sit in.
I guess the reason we is asking, some of your letters kind of allude to the fact that you might want to live. there.
Ideally, yeah, it'd be great if we could just leave it up. I'll put a septic in and, you know, we'll move forward. That would be the best option for me, but. You know, every correspondence that I've had has been, that's a no-go, no matter what. So now I'm just asking for as much time as I can get.
Thank you, because I was just looking for the clarification from the letter to what you were saying.
We're not living in it, basically.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one. Okay, perfect. Any other questions at all from council or? All right, perfect. Thank you, man. We'll talk about it after you as well, but thanks for your delegation.
Thank you.
So moved by Councilor Johnson, seconded by Councilor Crabtree, that the council accepts the delegation by Angie and Ben Stoddard as information. All in favor? That's carried. Next delegation we have is Ryan Brown. Floor is yours. Same thing, 10 minutes.
Sure, I just have a couple of things to pass around that I may reference, if that's okay.
We have,
Just a couple, just a couple different, if that's,
Yeah,
if that's
fine.
possible.
thank you.
Not very hard on for the member on the screen. So it's a huge impact. Just got a little spiel here, it's pretty much an information session, for me as well. So any answer the questions, would be beneficial. So just even council, first off, thanks for taking the time in the schedule, hear me out on this. The concern I have, the issue that I have, is with the water testing station that was installed in the municipal right of way, outside of our residence on 3rd Street. I believe it was in August. I think the location of this, testing station has greatly impacted the value of our residents. And that it was not considered, when the location for these water testing stations were chosen. As you can see from the pictures that I shared online, that this water testing station is right in the middle of our front door as you walk in the house. I understand it's not on our property, it's part of the municipal right of way. I also realized these locations were chosen alongside the ministry advisor. But I'd like to know just if this was the only option that was given by the advisor or to the advisor, or whether this was just the best option for locations. I was also told by a member of the staff, specifically the construction crew, that the stations were placed directly beside the hydrant, just for ease of construction. Specifically not hitting rocks while they were digging. Just want clarification on this as to whether that was an accurate statement or just whether that's just where the water main ended and that's where the water stations had to go. Just for the fact that I think ease of construction, if that was the deciding factor, when putting up these water stations, I think that's a lot to sacrifice on the homeowners end, just for simplifying, and installation. For this reason, I believe it's devalued our property. I just propose a change of location just further down the municipal right of way, just farther west, just off of our property. To be, proposed for ministry approval. The picture that I've passed around tonight, is actually of the rental property on Fifth Street, which I believe is, we'll say worse than ours, but I just think it shows a little bit of, that it wasn't considered, when these testing stations, were installed. I understand that the municipality can do as they wish. Obviously, it's not on our property, it's on the municipal right of way. And I'm glad to see that there is an amount of care for the, for our drinking water, but don't believe that there was consideration taken, on behalf of the homeowners, when it came to installing at these locations. Just as a last note, I've maintained access to the hydrant in front of our property over the past year. And should, be approved for a change of location, I won't hesitate to, clear a path of snow to this new location.
Thank you. Any questions at all from the council? Would there be any, I guess, the staff side of it, like from his questions, a report after about those questions at all, or the,
We can amend the resolution for staff report.
We can't, council can't give direction to staff from a delegation, but we hear what he's asking and we'll bring a report back.
that's what we're, yeah, sounds good, sounds good. So then we can just get that to as well. So I thank you for your delegation, thanks for your questions. Obviously, we don't have the,
Nope, yeah.
I mean, we're not the
Understandable.
experts,
Nope.
so like, I really appreciate your questions and just.
Sorry, can you just send those to us in writing to make sure that we address all of them?
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, and thank you for that. So moved by Councillor Crabtree and seconded by Councillor Abad, that council accepts the delegation by Ryan Bryan's information. All in favor? So the next one is the report of municipal officers. Is Chloe's gonna do this one? Yeah, Chloe's, is this the one that's, we don't need to go over that, but you're gonna talk about that at all.
Nope.
What's that?
Do you wanna let Mr. Brown know that we won't be discussing it today, in case they don't wanna stay?
So, yeah, well, sure, if I wasn't, Ryan,
Yes.
if I wasn't clear, it won't be discussed today, this will be
Yes.
brought back later, so you don't need to stay.
Okay.
For that part of it, because unless you wanna stay
No, I was just.
and listen to the excitement that we have in our council meeting.
How it goes down, we're just gonna grab this.
Yeah, but yeah, so I just wanna make sure that
Yeah.
you're always welcome to stay and listen to what goes on in the township.
For sure.
So I'll just move ahead, we don't need to close the talk, this is good, so moved by Councillor Abbas and seconded by Councillor,
You don't want me to do a report?
does she need to do the report? Okay,
She's got something ready.
so Chloe wants to, so you should have jumped up and said, I want to talk about this. Okay, perfect, take it away.
So a public meeting was held on September 16th to hear an application for a zoning bylaw amendment, file number ZB 25004. The intent of the application submitted is to rezone the rear portion of the lands municipally known as 11862 Highway 15 from rural to highway commercial. The entire property, which is serviced by a private well and septic system, is approximately 14.5 acres or 5.9 hectares in size, with 192 meters of frontage on Highway 15. The front portion is currently zoned highway commercial and the rear portion is zoned rural. The structure is located within the current highway commercial zone, exceeds the maximum lot coverage provisions of 20% being 24.9%. And the structures that are located on the currently zoned rural portion are utilized by the owner as part of a historical and ongoing greenhouse operation. The rezoning request being discussed this evening is to bring the current development into compliance with the performance standards in the zoning bylaw as it relates to maximum lot coverage. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment will amend the zoning of the rear 4-hectare or 10-acre portion of the property from rural to highway commercial and bring the property into compliance with the 20% maximum lot coverage provision of the highway commercial zone. Pursuant to the township site plan control bylaw, commercial land uses require a site plan control agreement between the owner and the township. And so delegated staff will work on this with the owner completed. A review of the subject lands does not indicate any hazardous areas that need to be avoided, any natural heritage features that require mitigation as a result of this application, and or any land use compatibility concerns, as this is an existing land use. Future development may trigger the requirement for certain studies or reviews, depending on the development proposed at that future time. In compliance with the provisions of the Planning Act, notice of the proposed rezoning was mailed to all landowners within 120 meters of the subject lands, emailed to required agencies under the Act, and posted on the township's website. A public meeting was also held, as stated before, on September 16th, pursuant to the Planning Act. And as a result of these provisions of notice in the public meeting, no concerns or objections were raised. The planning report that was included in your agenda packages provides a detailed analysis of the applicable provincial planning statement, official plan and zoning bylaw provisions related to this application. And the application meets the intent of and is consistent with the provincial planning statement, the Lanark County Sustainable Communities official plan, the Township of Montague's official plan, and the Township of Montague zoning bylaw. So provided that there is no opposition to the application, it is staff's recommendation that council pass the attached draft zoning amendment bylaw. Any questions?
Any questions at all? Perfect, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I won't pass you over again, so. So moved by Councillor Bass and seconded by Councillor Johnson, the council passed the necessary bylaw permit to rezoning of the rear 4-hectare, 10-acre portion of Highway 11862, Highway 15. Legally described as part of lots 26 and 27, concession 7, Township of Montague from rural to highway commercial to reflect the predominant use of the property and bring the property to compliance with the 20% maximum lot coverage provision of the highway commercial zone, subject to site planning control. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next up is Mr. Haynes about the circular materials agreement update.
Chair, good evening, council. So this report just for information only, in regards to circular materials, renewal of an agreement. So you'll see in the report, the name has changed. There has been a couple small changes in some of the wording and definitions. Really, there's just 2 items of note in the compensation line. It does have the price. This is for compensation, sorry, for the township distributing information on collection calendars and any sort of public information stuff that we share on social media online. So compensation is dropped from 44 cents to 35 per household. And then the next notable change was the requirement for a report to be submitted on December 1st of each year. So that's going to confirm the current number of households receiving collection. This is something that CMO is going to look at as well. And, you know, if there's a discrepancy there, then it will trigger some sort of agreement change where there could be some changes in charges. Other than that, CMO will continue to provide promotion education materials. They have a new portal that we now have access to. So there's material on there we can pick from for, you know, posting online, social media, distributed to schools and stuff, such. So we provided notice of intent to sign this. And that's about the only changes to that. Any questions on that?
Any questions at all besides that we're just losing some funding for it? That's what we nuts and bolts of it every day, right? So, but it's still nice to have some funding for some of that. So
That's great.
I see no questions. It's good. So like moved by Councillor Crabtree, seconded by Councillor Abbas, the council received this report's information And the council approved the agreement by adoption by law at the meeting of October 7th, 2025. All in favor? That's great. It's not going anywhere. It's just gonna talk about, I hate to say it, winter maintenance.
It is coming. Thank you, Chair. So winter road maintenance agreement, this is something that gets sent to us from Leonard County this time of year each year to renew. So some changes in our municipal yard here are gonna force some changes in the agreement. Historically, the agreement has listed 3 items that the township provides. One of them notably is the housing of the county vehicles. So this could be a county truck or it could be one of their contractors housed in one of our structures. That was done in the old white sheds. You guys remember that it's since been demolished. So that's one of them. An electrical outlet was available for them to plug it in, and use of a loader, which in the past was the excavator, the wheeled excavator that we have. And then once the township bought a backhoe, they switched to the backhoe to use that loader. So now as we move into this year's agreement, we're looking at some possible changes. So one thing that we noticed last year was using the use of the backhoe. The backhoe suffered from excessive corrosion here in this past year. Okay, so the county uses strictly salt in their vehicles. That's 100% salt. As they load it with the backhoe, a lot of it ends up on the hood of the backhoe. There's a feature of the backhoe, unfortunately, the float feature, and with an inexperienced loader operator, like the township guys use it every day, so they're used to it. The county or the contractor, we don't know who we're getting day to day. So a lot of it ends up on the unit. So we've incurred some extra costs for repairs due to corrosion. This thing gets serviced by the dealer, and every time a technician comes out, they know how bad it's corroded for the year of the vehicle. So, I mean, this can be brought back or linked back to the use of the salt. In the township units, we use strictly primarily a grit, right? So there's like a 2 to 3% salt content in there. So really it's not corrosion, it's not a factor. So we've incurred some extra costs this year. I think they were listed in the report. And because they're quite excessive, I think upwards of $10,000+ in repairs linked back to corrosion. So one of the ideas we were looking at was switching to a loader. So the county uses loaders in their yards, and of course the satellite yards around the township. They have like a standing offer where they look at leasing and renting annually, so for like a 6-month period. So staff have talked to county staff on costs there and possible cost sharing options for having a loader in the yard. They did provide pricing on that, which was roughly $4,700, I believe, which is something we'd be looking at sharing. So we're looking at 3 options here. Either way, we need to move ahead with an agreement. So options we had were, of course, to let the county station a vehicle here outdoors, like they did last winter, and still provide the electrical outlet to plug the unit in. And then we'd look at a rental loader to be provided by the county under their existing rental contract, and we would share that cost. And then the county would pay a monthly fee, which we'll determine to cover hydro fuel insurance costs for their unit in the yard. Option 2 we had listed here as looking at purchasing a used loader. As you can imagine, $4,700, half that price over 6 months. It doesn't take long to start looking at what would it cost to have a used one here that we could buy outright and own. Of course, it wouldn't use just for strictly loading trucks. We got a lot more snow to move in the yard here as well. So it would certainly be an asset. So we could look at that, still provide the electrical outlet, and still have the county pay a fee, which would cover, of course, the hydro, the fuel, and the loader use. And then option 3 is we could just renew the contract, provide the indoor parking, which of course would put one of the township units outdoors to have a county unit indoors. And then we'd have to provide them with the security access to the building. Listed here, we have some of the costing for the options as well. So staff at this point are looking for direction on how council would like to proceed with the agreement.
Thanks, Ed. That's good information as far as that. Is there like a staff sort of thought or before I go around the council, is the staff sort of thought or recommendation of where leaning towards or thinking that would be a better option, or?
So there's a few concerns. I mean, if you think about, let's just think about the indoors parking. We'll start with that one, okay? First of all, we didn't build this to park our stuff outside. So to me, that's a non-starter right away. And then of course, the security access. You're not so reluctant with a county employee, and I'm not trying to, talk badly about anyone, but then the county could send any sort of contractor here to cover this route as well. So we have to give them access to our full building, so not really desirable either. And then as far as loader use goes, the price is high for a rental unit. The benefit to that, of course, is that if there are issues, repairs required, whatever, the dealers can go out, take care of it, replace the unit if they have to, whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, year two, year three, we could own something. Right, so that's something we could use year round as development continues to 22 acres. You know, as things go on around the yard here, that's something that we use year round. So if you're asking my opinion, it'd be great to renew the contract, have the county outside as usual, we'll have them plugged in. And then look at, you know, we'll set a budget, look at finding a decent use unit.
Okay, so a good staff recommendation. Is there any questions around council? Jim?
So we buy another used loader, where what stops it from the same thing deteriorating it out?
Right.
I like the idea where you're putting money towards something you have and you can use it. But are we only the same boat in 2 years? We'd have to spend $10,000 to fix it up or?
Different unit completely. Whereas, you know, the backhoe combination has to be made as well to use the backhoe to fill a tandem truck, right? So the staff previously, just before my time here, had to build a ramp back here as well. That's part of the problem. You've got a back now driving up a ramp with a full bucket material and that going up, even that brings material over the top. Having a loader in the yard here, it's the right piece of equipment. If you grab a full scoop, you know, it's 2 scoops and the truck's done. So yeah, there'll be a learning curve as there is with any new piece of equipment, but I think as far as suffering the damage and the repairs that we looked at with the backhoe, we're not going to see that with the right tool.
So a loader goes higher.
Absolutely,
That's
yeah, so the ramp would not be required. You could just drive straight up the side of the truck on the side.
Before I go, I'm assuming.
So not only that, the loader, the engine components are all in the back, the backhoe's all in the front. So it's 2 very different units. So the salt on the backhoe is getting placed on the hood in the engine components and the hydraulics. Loaders are built to load, their engines are in the back. So you're not gonna have that same corrosion.
Thank you.
Any other questions around Trevor?
So what else are we gonna use this for? You know, already off the top of your head, you're gonna be able to put this to.
So honestly, even just in the yard here, so this will be our first winter clearing snow at this new complex with all the new asphalt we have out here. So it's gonna speed that process up as well. So we can bring all that snow together, whether it be the tandem to the 3-ton or whatever, and then loader and take that snow straight back. So that'll speed things up there. Now with this used unit, the primary role is gonna be here in the yard loading trucks, okay? But 22 acres is close. As development goes on over there, I'm sure it'll be an asset over there moving forward as well. Yeah.
Is it reasonable to say that we'll be able to find a good used one for the 50-ish, or is it gonna probably be closer to the 100?
No, I think it's reasonable. I mean, staff have looked at it already, just to get.
So you guys,
came up
we
with-
gotta have like a ballpark.
Yeah, no, we looked into that already, just to kind of get a number that made sense before we brought this to
Yeah.
council, of course, right? So, yeah, it's, you know, we're not looking for, you know, an enormous machine here, it's something that's gonna fit for what we needed to
So
do.
reasonably in like let's go 6 years, 7 years, we should be, you know,
I'll take that one. So what the plan would be is that rather than, because option 1 is going to have a seasonal cost of about 23,000, because we're not gonna have the revenue coming in from the county because they're supplying 50% of a loader and then we have to pay 50% of a loader. So option 2 is that we would have an expense line for maintenance. And then we would do an internal debenture. So we wouldn't charge ourselves interest. We would pay it back potentially over 5 years. So we would have a minimal cost because we would have some of that revenue coming in from the county, but then we actually have an asset in our hands as opposed to the leased item. So if council chooses option 2, I'd bring a variety of options for you, keeping in mind that we could also use some development charges because it's growth related for us. So I can bring those options, but really, the recommendation would be to do an internal debenture, so we're not paying interest. We have the funds to internally borrow $50,000 to $75,000. And then we also don't have those additional seasonal costs. And hopefully then the maintenance costs on the backhoe are also reduced by $10,000 a year due to the salt corrosion.
We get some more life out of that too.
Absolutely.
At the end of the life too as well.
Yeah.
When the other damage that goes.
Yeah.
Good question. Any other questions around council? When I was playing with the loader, I was like, would a tractor be worthwhile? But it wouldn't be because it does, the just so the ramp, I guess, too, as well, if you want to do a tractor, because we talked about the 22 acres, where what's better over there, a tractor or a loader? I guess maybe a loader might kind of do it all, I guess.
Again, it's a different tool, really,
Yeah.
right? And so even if you looked at, say, a 85 horsepower farm tractor type size, you're really about the same size as a backhoe. So
Yeah.
I don't think you're gaining anything. You're gonna see the same failures, I believe, that we see, if not more.
The engine.
Because the
is-
back was quite
It's gonna
quite
pour right on.
robust versus a farm tractor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Loaders, I think you get, I know I kind of Facebook Marketplace some stuff there as well, but out there, so yeah.
Yeah.
The value there, that might be better, and you can make it push more and all that kind of stuff to a loader. So
Exactly.
That's good, it's a good suggestion, I like that.
But just to make sure. So how long would this loader last? Depending on their year, how old it is.
It's gonna depend what we end up purchasing, I would say, but I mean, you find a good used unit with fairly low hours, it's been well maintained, there's no reason why we couldn't have this in the fleet for 15 years or more. Yeah.
And this will also extend the other one that was getting corrosion.
The backhoe, it's hard to believe, honestly, looking at it, if I told you the year of it and the hours, it's only 1,400 hours on it, and you would think it's 20 years old.
That backhoe's a 2022.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've had to paint it 3 times already.
So with the new facility, the plant, of course, that can be inside this winter, and that can be some downtime work for staff to get that thing cleaned up and repainted and back to where it should be condition wise. When it's not required for loading trucks.
Perfect. So I guess, I think council's kind of on that board of going to option 2, to make sure that we're looking to get something like that. The county's in agreement, obviously, like they're fine with that too as well, like there would be.
They're great, honestly, they just need they need a loader here.
They need a solution. Yeah.
So, they knew we were coming to county or to, sorry, council this evening, and I'll update them from here on what the decision is, and then we'll carry forward with whatever the agreement is.
Perfect. Any other questions? We can move forward with that and we'll get pricing back, and that's, when the report will come back saying this is what we found, this is what it costs, and all that. Should we set a price to that? So like if there's one that comes across, we don't wanna. The thing with buying used is that, it's here today, but it's gone tomorrow, so I don't know if we should look at that.
So Chair, through you, so we do have the ability under procurement to purchase with just 3 quotes up to 75,000. We strongly think we're gonna get a good used unit under the 75. So really, it'll be the public works manager will reach out, get some pricing on 3 used units and bring it back to council. If council's okay with us making the decision and just bringing it back for information, we can do that, but it's only 2 weeks from now. I think if we're concerned about that, we can always do a special meeting to get it. It's really council's comfortability, but because we don't have to go to tender, we can get the 3 prices.
Does anybody have a problem with like them making that purchase? Reed, do you have a problem with that? I wanna make sure I don't forget about you, like I look over there, so. Like if nobody has an issue with this is the direction we're going, I mean, like, and we have that, then we might just say, like, we don't want a special meeting for something we're gonna say yes to anyways.
Okay,
Right, so like if it's in that price tag and if it's in that category, I'm comfortable with that, if council's comfortable with that.
Trigger.
we'll bring it back as information
Yeah,
though,
obviously,
to advise.
information, Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not do like dawdle, especially if there's something there, so okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right.
They're one day, not the next.
Yeah, with you stuff, you never know, right? So it's it is what it is, and I think we're all in agreement, so I think that's, and the county's on board, so we're good, so, okay, perfect. Thanks, Ed. That was great report, great information and update on issues. So moved by Councilor Abbas and seconded by Councilor Johnson, that council directs staff with option 2 in relation to the winter road unions. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next up is Ms. Rankin with the library. Don't be clap for what?
Thank you, yeah. Okay, thank you, Chair. So this is clarification, coming back. I think there was some, maybe confusion on, what direction, council gave at the September 16th meeting. So we do make an annual application, to the PLOGS, the Provincial Library Operating Grant. In order to do that, I need signed documents from both Smiths Falls and Merrickville saying that we still currently have an agreement. During the 2025 budget, council chose to cut the funding to Smiths Falls by 50%. We did not provide notice of termination of the agreement. what was decided was they were gonna cut the funding by 50% if the library board took it as termination. Then they would have to provide that to us. They did not. They said they wanted to negotiate, they wanted to continue moving forward. So we have not provided termination to the Smith Falls Library Board. At the meeting on the September 16th, council provided direction to approve the 12.5 for 2026. Can't cut it from the budget, approve the 12.5 and get into negotiations, but do not include it with the recreation agreement. The recreation agreement is with the town and other municipalities. If we are looking to negotiate with Smith Falls Library Board, that's not the town. The board is a separate legal entity. So what we're looking for here is clarification because it's been a little frustrating on all parts. Merrickville's looking for clarification because if we're seizing our agreement with Smith Falls, they need more funds because of what was presented at the last meeting. And Smith Falls and our library reps are also wondering what's going on. So we need clarification. I do not feel comfortable putting in the grant application to the province, which is due this week or early next week, without full clarification from council on that we're giving the 12.5 and negotiating, or not. Because we can't pull it. If we get them to sign an agreement that we're giving the 12.5 and we submit that, we cannot pull it in our 2026 budget. So it's there. My recommendation to council is to leave it for 2026, let the board come back with what they're really looking for from us and make that decision. But it's obviously up to council. I need direction. I think we would all like some direction on what we're trying to accomplish here.
Thank you. And I guess the other part too as well is like, it's like, we're getting crunch time at the end of the year too as well, to go back to Merrickville and say, like, they're not prepared for that. They're not ready for to take on us as an entirety too as well. So like, this is something I respect that, recommendation decided it that you're looking at, keeping things going, and then we can have that discussion through the year, and then we have that time to go where we're gonna go with that, instead of trying to make it right now. I think we're gonna have this conversation. We should have had that 6 months ago. That's kind of what you're alluding to as well, right?
And Chair, so we're going to be, if council chooses that, no, they're not gonna do the 12.5 and they're gonna provide termination notice to the Smith Falls Library Board, we need to get into negotiations with Merrickville like tomorrow. Because they need to know, they need to increase their budget, we need to provide it in our budget. It all seems kind of last minute. And with our current workload of items that we need to complete, the recommendation is to leave the 12.5 for 2026. Ask the board to provide us what they're really looking for. I think it's probably like a 5-year funding agreement type of thing. And then council to make that decision in 2026 for 2027.
And have a thorough discussion. Okay, perfect. That's a great report. Thank you much. Open up the questions. Mr. Bass, sorry.
Okay, so if we stay like the way you just said, 20 for 26. And we decide 26 to cancel it, do we have to go another 6 months past that?
Yeah, so you'll need to provide, Chair through you, you'll need to provide notice. So we would need to then ask the board right away to provide us what they're looking for an agreement or for negotiations. And have those sit downs and have those conversations. And then if this council chose, and if you're not in lame duck, because it's an election year, you can choose mid-year next year to say, look, if for 2027, we're terminating the agreement. But I think that we need to give them the opportunity to provide us what they're looking for. And have at least that discussion and then make the decision.
Appropriate discussion. Councilor Johnson.
So you said that how did they get back to us? Did they send us a letter saying they wanted to negotiate, or?
So it was in the minutes
Oh,
that were provided back to council where they had said that they want to negotiate, or have the discussions. So it was in the minutes. So they never formally, they did not take it as termination. They still want those discussions to happen. And to be honest, we need to have discussions with both Merrickville and Smith Falls. And kind of everybody needs that stable, like 5-year funding, even for us for budgeting. It would make it much easier as well.
Okay.
For both, for all three parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no, so now we haven't been timely in this matter now. They may have said it in the minutes. I personally didn't really, I was waiting for a letter. Never got it, so I get that. And I think we're too far along to also say that we're gonna cut the 12,500. I understand that. I also do not believe that Merrickville will be able to take us on that quickly
No.
at all. And I'm in and out of the Merrickville Library all the time. I have a business in Merrickville and that. So I don't see that working for us either. So I think just based on time crunches now, I would be okay with, we continue on in the option one, the 12,500. And we move forward with that, because we've sort of dropped the ball with this. We didn't follow up with them. And they didn't send us a letter, so we sort of, it's sitting in the middle, and now we can't just sort of leave either party in the lurch. I don't
Exactly.
think. So.
Yeah. And I think so with that, we're asking that 2 council members be appointed to the negotiating team that will sit with either myself or Kirsten. With the board, this is with the library board, not the town, to confuse the two. So, I'm asking that you appoint some people so that we can at least get those discussions happening. And potentially that those members can support our rep as well at a couple of the meetings and see what it's all about and what's happening.
I'll put my name for it.
I think it's a great.
I'll put my name forward.
I'm nominating Trevor and Jim. That makes it simple. They put their hands up there.
Trevor, Jim, I think it's great. I think it's a great time to be able to see the library too as well and to understand. I mean, obviously went through a big overhaul too as well, and also to maybe get a good understanding of everything that they offer too as well. And that'd be a great report back from the council members too as well to have a good understanding. So
If you want to join, please. I'm okay if you want to be on the, no, I just want to make sure.
So just to be clear, I'm gonna reach out to Solvi Fair rep and the board chair and just ask for those to kind of get moving. So that it doesn't get missed, it doesn't get put to the back burner, that we are moving.
I think it's also an important part of the conversation too as well to understand getting information of what is being paid by other municipalities to libraries that they don't have libraries. Like what is Beckwith pay to Carlton Place for their use of the library, you know, as a cost per resident? What is Drummer Thumbs, the same idea? So I think that gives an idea too as well of where our costing is comparable, say, to everybody else. And because we talk about these numbers, is that too much? Is it not enough? Is it where are we at? And I think that information is important when you go into those discussions too as well. Understand what is the appropriate amount that's being asked and the appropriate amount that we need to provide for a library service too as well. I think that's
We're also in a different situation than a lot of other municipalities. We have 2 libraries where most of them it's usually 1. So in having those costing and being able to figure out between the 2, how that costing looks would be great to.
that information is important.
To say if we're going to be sharing between 2 services, how do we divide that money and make it equitable and fair between the 2?
Yeah, because I think it would divide into those numbers of what they look like for those people too as well. So I think just making sure it's important to have all of that information before we make a decision of what we're cutting and what we're doing. So good discussion. I think staff has that, we have everything, we're good. So we're going with option 1. And you bring down the other 2, so that's good. So moved by Councillor Johnson and seconded by Councillor Crabtree that the council provides clear direction to staff to 2026 Smiths Falls Library Agreement by choosing option 1 as presented this date. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Allison.
Did it,
Next,
sorry, did that motion state who the appointments were? Or does that a separate, that comes through?
it wasn't in there.
It's not in there, so Chair through you, we'll have to bring back and amend our appointment bylaw to add those 2 to that negotiating committee, similar to our other committees. That'll come back at the next meeting.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is just is Allison about the discussion of the sovereign council.
Yep, thank you, Chair. So we put this on because council can't direct us based on delegations. So we put the report on the agenda so that council can have a discussion about the Stoddard file. So based on the letter presented and, what, Ben had provided to you this evening, there's some differing information, so he's now saying that they're not living in the building, so that is a change. So this is really just a timeline back that the original complaint came in April to the township office, and that the bylaw had contacted them in May. So through there is the timeline of kind of where we've come to where we are today. So there were several options provided. It still kind of sounds like kind of unsure of what direction they'd like to go as far as potentially moving the structure, building a new structure, whatever the case is. So I think that for council consideration, the $5,000 fee is for building without a permit. That's in our fees and charges that were provided, that council is approved. So in a situation like this, if somebody builds a structure without a permit and they remove it from the property, we don't charge them the $5,000 because the property or the building no longer exists on the property. So that was an option to remove the $5,000 fine. The setbacks and development agreement information is included in the report as well. So I think that with staff and discussion with staff, so the original date, based on the original order from August 27th was to remove or get the appropriate permits, whatever the case was, by September 29th. That was extended out to October 31st. I think that there's not a problem in further discussion as long as no one's living and the majority of the structure, the interior, has been removed to extend it if the shell has to stay to next spring to allow for storage. But there has, because they have the demolition permit, so the intent is to remove. I think it's that we want to ensure that no one's living in it, not saying it's not structurally sound, we've seen pictures, looks beautiful. But it's the fact that we have a liability of somebody living in a building with no appropriate septic and not an appropriate permit. So us as staff, we did have the discussion of if majority of the interior that it's not a living space, we don't have an issue with allowing the building to remain as a storage while they build or look to build another building in the appropriate location with the appropriate permits. So and then, but the biggest discussion for council, because fees and charges are on council, is that if they keep the building there and remove it in the spring, are we going to still forgive the $5,000 building without a fee? Or are we going to do the $1,000, which is what we normally do for a garage building? Because he's essentially removing everything except for the storage garage component.
Thank you.
So I think, again, just overall, it's been ongoing, but I think like any situation, we try to work around whatever we can, but we have to make sure nobody is living in the structure.
So I think that's, thank you for that report as well. And just to reiterate that point too, as well, is that we have a history of our staff doing a really good job at working with individuals and working with people to try to make things the right way. We're not a township or a place that is I don't want to bash the city of Ottawa, but that would basically like, we don't care about you, tough luck for you. Like, I think, like, I wholeheartedly hear it from people when they get with it too, as well, is that the staff always tries to work with people. We try to make sure we're a small community, we try to do the right things, but we have to also make sure that we're following certain rules and certain everything else too as well. So I lay that out there too as well, for thank you for that.
And just to clarify, we don't require the hydro to be disconnected. If we're going to allow like just a structure, we just need to ensure no one's living there. So the interior is mostly removed.
And that was just really a show of good faith to be like, yeah, nobody's here, man, it's cold and there's nothing plugged in.
Yeah, so that's kind of, so really we're looking for council on, do you want to continue to waive the fee? Or?
So I'll take that and we'll go over there. So Councilor Banks.
First question is it gonna be done then is it gonna be moved completely, we'll say by July?
So that would be a stipulation that we'll work out, as far as so they have the demolition permit, so in good faith, they have the intent of removing the building. So normally a permit is for a year. So if it's removed by September kind of thing.
Perfect. Any other questions at all? Coach Johnson?
Yeah, so timeline wise, it would be, as long as there's no one living in it.
It has to
That's the
mostly
biggest deal.
be
Yeah.
gutted.
So that is done, and then whether he moves it or builds something else, there'll be a date that you guys will
Correct.
chat with him about and go to that.
Yeah.
And then the fees are waived.
Wow.
How does that?
No, so, well, that's up to council. So right now, if the entire building is removed from the property, the fees are waived. I think that my recommendation is that if they completely gut the building and it's used for storage, they were allowing it for storage because one of the options was that I believe that they hooked up a proper septic and they could use it through the winter while they got another building permit. But again, they're gonna put in a septic in a location that's not gonna be appropriate, that's more expensive. So, that they would be able to keep the frame with no one living in it
Right.
until such time with a demolition permit with the intent to remove.
Okay.
Within a certain time frame, like next year. And be charged $1,000 for building without a, because it would be considered more of like a garage building as opposed to a house structure. Now, keeping in mind, they still have the option to dismantle the entire thing and build nothing if they choose to, and just, you know what I mean? Like, we're not forcing them to build a house on it. We're just giving them the opportunity to remove the entire inside and,
So my question then with the fee then, it goes from 5,000 to 1,000.
Yeah.
And that isn't charged to him until we're in.
that would be charged right away.
Right away.
If he wants to keep the structure as like a storage, for a certain amount of time. So that was discussed as staff that would potentially be acceptable. We're really trying to make sure nobody's using any kind of gray water systems or living in that.
Can that be moved? Like, always have to be taken down,
No, so he has every opportunity to move
to
it.
move it somewhere else and have the proper.
And put the proper foundation. Yep.
Right, again, it's gotta be moved.
So I think all being said, I think if we're going to give the opportunity to keep the structure up. And show good faith in that way, we would have to, in my mind, charge at least $1,000. Call it a rental storage facility, call it whatever you're using it as for. But it's a good faith gesture, saying, hey, you don't have to remove your structure, you pay $1,000.
You will have to remove it.
No, but you don't have to remove it by the
Yeah,
30th.
okay. Just-
Sorry,
That's reasonable.
just, and also acts as a deterrent for other people seeing this in the future, saying, hey, maybe we should go through the proper steps. One, we want to take our future residents and, that way, we're at least showing good faith and allowing you to keep the structure up until you have an opportunity to build your future home. That's my recommendation based on the situation and the amount of, based on the amount of hours that staff has had to actually deal with this. I don't know if you had an opportunity, but they've actually spent quite a few hours
Yeah.
working on this and the taxpayers paid for that. So that would be my recommendation.
No, I think that's a good point too, as well, what you're saying about like, there's the staff time that the tax, like that's been paid for by, like at the end of the day, that's what everybody that pays into that, right? So it's project, so I think that's good. So any other question or comments?
Oh, pretty well answered.
Yeah.
Option two. I'm in agreement, option two, for the $1,000 cover staff time.
Okay, let's do that, move on, and hopefully we get a nice, beautiful new house next year and we'll have a great game. Thank you, staff, once again, working with the applicant too as well. So moved by Councillor Johnson and seconded by Councillor Crabtree, that Councillor approve option 2 in relation to the Stoddard letter to council report. All in favor? And that's carried.
You don't have to hang around.
You don't have to hang around if you don't want to.
Thank you.
But it is always
Touch
exciting.
those.
Perfect. Yeah, I've been up since 4, so in the dark here is kind of.
Yeah.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be the first person to fall asleep, that's good. Moved by Councillor Crabtree and seconded by Councillor Abbas, that council approve the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting dated September 16, 2025, for the exception of 3C Smith Falls Library Agreement as discussed separately at the regular meeting of council dated October 7/2025, and approval and remaining recommendations contained within. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Councilor Abbas, second by Councilor Johnson, the council approves the minutes of the Montague Recreation and Culture Committee meeting dated September 4th, 2025, as presented this date. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Councilor Johnson, second by Councilor Crabtree, the council accepts the minutes of the Merrickville Public Library Board meeting on June 24th, 2025 as information. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Councilor Crabtree, second by Councilor Abbas, the council accept the minutes of the Merrickville Library Board special meeting on July 31st, 2025 as information. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councilor Abbas, seconded by Councilor Johnson, that the bylaw 4170-2025 being a bylaw to authorize execution of an agreement with the circular materials be read first, second, third time and passed, signed and sealed this the 7th day of October 2025. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councilor Johnson, seconded by Councilor Crabtree, that bylaw 4171-2025 being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 4070-2024 be read first, second, third time, passed, signed, sealed this 7th day of October 2025. All in favor? And that's carried.
That's like fast.
Man. You should see my mother and sister talking. So, I have the quorum to do. Before we recess the meeting, I had the other stuff. I'm gonna go back to the full, so I just wanna go through this real quick. This one came up, I want to make a jab at this one because it's number C, the postal costs and the postal costs going up. And it's another one of those things where I'd like to reiterate of going digital and emphasizing anybody that can get their tax bills and everything else and email to them instead of mail to them, as we see costs go up and it costs us a lot of money. So the more that we can make sure that it's not being mailed and it's gone to people's emails is better. So I just want to put that in there, especially some of our members that don't do that. Next is G. I want to recognize this is the financial reporting.
Sorry, can I stop you?
Yeah.
The postal, because with postal strikes, the other thing is it doesn't remove the property owner's responsibility to know what their taxes are and come in and pay them. So that's another thing. If more sign up for the e-billing, they're still getting it because it's electronic. And that way then they aren't missing, because it is a property owner's responsibility as well to ensure, not just Canada Post, about your tax bill. Sorry about that.
Oh, well said, Reeve. I fully agree, and I hope everybody will sign up after this. This financial reporting is it seems to be like an automatic for us, but it's not an automatic. I know Allison puts in a lot of work along with the staff to do this. If you go to the website and see who actually is on the list, it's a very short list out of 444 municipalities. We have our friends in Carleton Place and the county of Lanark that have also hit it too as well, which is really cool. Nobody in Leeds Grenville, nobody in it's quite impressive. So I think that's a giant kudos to Allison and the staff there for making sure that our financial reporting is bang on. And we always see that when we do our budgets, and we also see it when we get our auditing, which I think is the date's already been booked. So I think that's just a huge kudos.
And kudos to staff, because we're such small staff compared to these other municipalities that are hitting up there and getting the numbers. The larger the amount of staff doing the work, we're much smaller. So kudos to our staff for achieving this, and have achieved it for several years now. So kudos to staff.
Yes, it's amazing. Yeah. I don't think we got it like years and years ago. So this is really, really good. So just quick update on the OCIF funding. It's just with the letters and the information, we all see it, what the funding is. We know what we're getting next year. So I think that's important for us to know. Rural recreation.
So
Yeah, sorry.
it's an increase for us, right? So we're getting an extra $25,000 on OCIF next year, which is good.
There we go. Glad we brought that up. So an extra 25.
Thanks, Ellie. Hey, Scooter.
Yeah. So scooter tonight. The Rural Recreation Association, I think that we've always had members that have been interested in going to this too as well. So I just want to make sure that if anybody is interested in going to it, or if you want to reach out to Val or Maggie that have gone in the past, just to make sure that if it's something that you wanna go through, the registration day is coming up, quick. But just to make sure that we put it out there, you
I believe there was one or two that were reaching out on their own.
get it, perfect.
So whether they have or not, I will. touch base.
We would cover their fee
Yeah, it
too
was,
as well.
they were gonna pay it and they just had to bring it into, get reimbursed.
Perfect, so that's great that we making sure that we're on that, I think that's great, oh, Cat would go too, that'd be awesome.
And, I think it may have been John. But cool, I will
Yeah,
double check on
it's
that.
great that
If I'm not mistaken.
that they're part of it too as well, so that's wonderful, that's really good. OPP cost is a letter there too as well. I know Allison's preparing for budget and OPP costs, but they're capping at 11% increase, which is still kind of ludicrous if you think about it. It's a pretty big jump if they could charge us more and more, so, but it is a letter trying to, I guess, humor us a little bit, but there's a cap there, but hopefully it's less, but, anyways, we can just sort of scoff and curse at that letter, I think. The next one is there's a new trustee, so we lost Carol DeFore, as we know, she was fantastic over, in this area and with the school. And I think we're really helping some of the discussions we have. There's a new person, that has been appointed, but, more of the loss of Carol DeFore, but hopefully the new person for the next year is just as helpful as Ms. DeFore was too as well. And that's all I got. Is any burning questions? We don't have any in the audience. Any burning questions online?
None.
None online. So I will move by Councillor Crabtree and seconded by Councillor Abbas that the council recess the council meeting at 7:04 PM. All in favor? And that's scary. And then that's it. I'm gonna go to our cow and we'll come back for our.
Unmuted, go ahead.
Welcome to the committee of whole, in person, live stream electronically, Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. You know, I'm doing it because I'm gonna miss this, and this is like, yeah. For the opening of meeting and acknowledgement, the council and staff of Township of Montague acknowledge that this is the sacred land on which the Township of Montague is now located. This meeting is being held as the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation. It's the best time I've ever read that. Just saying. I think it's just because it's the last time. Adoption agenda. The committee of the whole, agenda dated October 7th, 2025, be approved as presented this date, moved by Deputy Ruth Carroll, second by Councilor Jenna Bass. All in favor? I didn't say Karen.
I keep forgetting about her up there. Sorry.
Disclosure of interest, if you have any, at any time you guys can. No delegations or deputations. Reports of municipal officers. Clerk, planning manager, Kirsten Cote. Appointment of chair for the committee of the whole.
I don't think you need to talk about this.
No.
No, perfect. There we go.
Has it?
Yeah.
He accepts.
Moved by Councilor Bass, second by Councilor Johnson. The council approved the appointment of Councilor Johnson to the committee of a whole chair position for December 2025, November to November 2026 term. All in favor?
Somebody can.
Can I not?
Somebody can read.
That's fine.
At least I'm not a Toronto Maple Leafs fan.
That's a goal.
Municipal manager, treasurer, deputy clerk, Alison Barakin. Montague 22 acre park hydro installation.
Thank you, Chair. So this is, we've discussing the Montague 22 acre park. We did our accessible walking trails this year. Our story time boards are ready. We're just looking to collaborate with the school to get them installed. So with that, originally we did have kind of the hydro layout included in the work to either be started this year or complete into next year. So we did meet with Hydro on site, and they provided us notice that the current pole and everything is suitable for the hydro and the electro line that we want to run. So what we're looking for from council tonight is, I think one of the most commented on items is that it would be nice if the sliding hill had a light, because it gets dark early, obviously in the winter, and also the skating pad location if we have one this year. So what we're looking for is for council to have the discussion on moving forward with the hydro. I do think it'll be beneficial for future grant applications that we've gone ahead and invested in the electrical and hydro installation to build washrooms or build additional facilities of what we choose. So we did work with our local commercial electrical provider to get pricing, and the hydro fees are included. So we will have a ground transformer similar to here that will be located. We do have the draft plan, hydro plan. That's based off of kind of pulling the hydro back kind of to where the start of the walking trail is, to allow us the option to run left or right, I'm not using south, north or south. So if we do a, let's say, covered outdoor rink space, and then on the other side do a ball diamond, which is kind of the current plan, that we would be able to run and address the electrical needs accordingly based on it being kind of central location. So with that, we would need to use some of the recreational reserves, but keeping in mind over the last several years, we've used very little rec reserves to do a lot of our recreational upgrades because we've been fortunate to get grants. We have applied for up to $10,000 to help fund some of this. We may or may not be successful. It was kind of a far stretched grant application. But I think that we need to take into account that we can't always get grant funds, and sometimes we have to spend a little to then set ourselves up for a good grant fund moving in the future. So it is our recommendation, so our commercial electrician said that they can get this installed this year before the snow flies if we move on this. And if you've been past 22 acres at all, Public Works is definitely adding to our hill, for this season, which is great. So our recommendation is to move forward, and to use some of those reserves and get that going, to service the area for the winter, but also to set us up for future applications.
I think it's important we go ahead and move forward with it. I really do. I think once we have that, then we'll get other grants come forward for other things. And if we're gonna do it in the spring and we can afford it now, why not do it now and have it all done? That's my thing. I have nothing to do with the weather, so. Just see it.
No, I think it's great, and you hit it too as well, where it's like, we've done all these improvements, and I haven't had to dip into the recreation reserves. The reserves have 280-ish.
250, 280, yeah.
250, yeah, so we're not diminishing those reserves too as well, so for something going forward, or we got a great grant after this one too, so we can, just dive in a little bit. We've done a really good job, I think, over the years at sort of keeping those reserves there. So I think this is the time now to actually use them, and this is the right use to as well, and we probably wouldn't get a grant for this anyways, if we need to do this, I agree with you, to move forward to something else, so I think that's, I'm all for it, so let's Stanford.
Just one question related to the 22 acres, what's happening with pickleball court?
Shouldn't ask that.
It's not part of the meeting.
So, I'm hoping to have it installed prior to the end of the month, and I have the fencing company ready to go by the end of the month. But I will keep you posted.
Thank you, Allison Ferry.
Allison.
I think this is, did Karen have anything to say before
That's all good. I'm in 100% agreement.
I think this is a good opportunity to do that. We used it for the summer games and have generators running, and I know we plan on using it for other events. This is gonna be a great asset and not make me not to drive back for a generator when I forget it. So for all intents and purpose, moved by Councilor Johnson, second by Deputy Ruth Carroll, the council directs staff based on option 1, presented this date for hydro installation at the Montague 22 acre park. All in favor? Carried.
Turn the right side a little bit.
Power system. Municipal manager, treasurer, deputy clerk, Allison Bracken, 2026 Lanark Harvest Festival.
Thank you, Chair. So we attended the Harvest Festival this year, and we brought along with us a local artisan or a local flower farmer. I'm not sure if that's what Sarah calls herself, but that's what I'm calling her today. And it was exceptional. The feedback that she got and just the day was exceptional. It was perfect weather. It was just a great time. So staff obviously got our wheels turning and thinking that every year there's a spotlight municipality. Montague has not been the spotlight municipality since 2017. So I think previously it used to go based on alphabetical order. So technically 2026 would be our year if it continued to be like that. The last several years in COVID, I think, changed how it kind of has been addressed. So now they ask that municipalities, that the councils pass a motion and provide it to the Economic Development Committee to advise of their interest in being the spotlight municipality. So basically what that entails is that the covered dome, we would have full access to that to put any of our local artisans or businesses. It's also our Flyers 50th anniversary to spotlight them. So to do some of those things. So our recommendation to council is to put Montague's name forward for 2026 and look at some of those opportunities. So we could have a bit of a committee to help establish with it, but I think the earlier that we can try and get approval from the county, the earlier we can get notice out to our local businesses and artisans. So getting that out in March to allow them time to put their name forward if they want to be part of that. So they would have a free space and just really highlight Montague and what we have to offer here. So it is our recommendation to move forward with that. There really is no cost, other than what we choose to do over and above. So if we want to give away some swag or if we want to do, something, then that'll be up to us. Again, council can look at their, donation line, thank you. Or Lanark County Tourism gives 5,000 each year too. We do have that kind of slotted for something else, but we can still have that discussion. But I think that really every municipality should take their turn, and we haven't done it since 17, so we should really, we're maybe one of the smaller ones, but we should still pull our weight and take a turn.
You're still mighty, right, Karen?
I'm still here. I think we're very mighty. I think it's great that it'll coincide with the 50th anniversary for the firefighters.
We got a lot of thumbs up, and I think it's great that, this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be super for us to be able to do that, so thank you for bringing that forward.
Especially tied it into the fire department, I think that would be great.
You ready for that, Awesome? Sure. There we go.
We need to go.
Moved by Deputy Carroll, second by Councilor Bass, the council of the Township of Montague direct staff to advise County of Lanark their interest in applying for the Spotlight Municipality for the 2026 Lanark County Harvest Festival. All in favor? Carried. Municipal Manager, Treasurer, Deputy Clerk, Awesome Braken, 2008 John Deere wheeled excavator options prior to disposal.
Thank you, Chair. So speaking of planning, so, the 08 John Deere wheeled excavator, our new one is on its way. Oh, it's here. Okay, so we got it. You get
Today, yeah,
Okay,
a couple hours
so
ago, yeah.
we got it today, our new one. Now, with that being said, the old excavator with the brushing head, we've been told we might get potentially 15 for each unit or 30 kind of as a combination. Now, from the time that we ordered our new unit and now we've had to do some work to the excavator and the brushing head to continue through and complete work. So prior to disposal, because at the previous meeting when you approved the purchase of the new unit, it was to deem it surplus and dispose of it as soon as we got the new unit. So that's why we're bringing options to council, just to have a discussion. Similar to what we did with the tandem truck, the old truck that we said we'll keep it until such time that it's in a repair that doesn't make sense to keep it. So, we are behind on ditching and brushing. So having the 2 units would be very beneficial if we made 2026 the year of brushing and ditching. With the hopes that the unit stays in relatively good working condition, and allows us to complete that. So with that though, we are limited to our staffing. We have 4 public works operators or staff, that's inclusive of our lead hand. If we're gonna have 2 units and if they're doing ditching, we obviously need 2 trucks, potentially a traffic control person or 2. We're getting to the point where even last year, whenever I was in the acting position, there's times when you need that 5th person, and that's why we have the casual fire department, which is great when they're available. But in the same sense, with talking about the 22 acres and our facilities and trying to get grants and funding, we're also the facilities portion needs to kind of have somebody to take the workload off of current staff. So what we're recommending to council is that we look at keeping the excavator while it's mechanically sound. Utilizing it, trying to get a lot of brushing and ditching addressed in 2026. We're looking for council to give direction to develop a job description for a facilities lead hand / operator. So they would be split. They'd be part-time facilities lead hand looking after kind of projects, potentially saving us funds if they can build small buildings, or let's say the bathrooms that we need to upgrade them to accessible, that they can demolish it all themselves. And then just get a contractor in either to rebuild, or they can do that, some of it themselves as well. So, and then with that, we would also have the additional operator. So through the winter, if it's a mild winter and allows us to do a bunch of brushing, hopefully it's not. But if it is, then we will have that extra person to help with that, and also that regular snow removal as well. So you wouldn't be approving this evening that position, but you'd be approving for us to move forward to look at, to keep the excavator, let us develop a job description, bring it back to you with the full sum of budget and the implications. I have put in here that the full impact on budget, if we accounted a portion of it to capital, because that person is doing capital work and we don't address any of our wages to capital, which we should. It would be about 1.6% tax rate increase. I do have a very high level draft budget done, and in the draft budget, I've included the full costs. So that would bring that down. Again, we're trying to keep the first draft budget to you guys at about 4 or 5%. And I think it's reasonable to do so, but I don't want to spend time on a job description if council is not willing to move that way. I do think though that if you were to hire out another excavator, we're gonna pay substantially more and get less work done than if we have the 2 units running for as long as we can.
So, question, I know we're gonna be talking about workload and all that later on this evening. So we wouldn't be saying yes to the actual hiring of anyone. It's, we wanna see the job description, how would it fit in?
Yeah.
With maybe a lot of other things we wanna do too.
Yeah.
But the biggest part of this is the description and then the excavator.
Yes.
So that's,
Yeah, so this evening would be to say, don't surplus the excavator tomorrow.
Right.
We wanna keep it. I have kind of a draft, job description to even, obviously we had to put some time and effort into thinking about this and how this would look. But that would come back to council. Hopefully you have the draft budget in a couple of weeks so that you can see the impact. But you also have to think of the impact on current staff and the workloads that sometimes some things don't get done, or potentially we miss some grant funding because we don't have that facilities
yeah,
to
and
always do the quotes and everything.
yeah, that's exactly where I'm getting to. Is there more that needs to be added to this and that?
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
like to have those kind of discussions, but if we're just gonna say, okay, get a job description, we're looking in that direction, then I'm okay with that. I just wanted to clarify.
I think in principle, I think it's a great idea to continue to move forward and look at, and to see how this can be, because this is also be a bit of an increase of the service side of it too as well. If we're looking at the ditching, we're looking, I mean, like, you can only put so much gravel on a road. But if it's sopping wet, we need to move that water out of the way. We need to do ditching. I know Ed had brought this up in the past too as well, when we were doing more ditching in Battery and like looking at more and more and more ditching. So I think like it's one of those things where it's like, there might be an increase, there might be, but I think it's important, a prudent discussion to have. Because we could be increasing that service, making this a little bit better, maybe maintaining our roads a little bit, not getting as bad too as well. So I think there's a lot of that discussion point when you're talking about, anytime you talk about a tax increase of something, people get their backup. But it's like, but the reason why is, here's the service level change that could happen from it. There could be a benefit for it today, and we're not talking about a 20% increase for a service change, we're talking about something else. So I think it's important for us to move forward and to have that discussion also to see how that balance the workload. And I think there's a lot of advantage to the 22 acres with the facility we have, but everything else too as well, that could help us move forward. But so I think this is a great move to kind of, let's keep discussing it. Let's move forward and let's not get rid of the eagle excavator.
My question was just, you classified it, you said lead hand, working lead hand. So does that mean-
Facilities leading in.
Oh, okay. So does that mean that he actually, that person will go out and work?
Yeah,
Like,
so
I shouldn't say.
our
I
lead
commit-
hands are
I mean,
working.
work on the,
Our lead hands are working, so that's not a supervisor, it's a lead
Okay,
hand.
it's a lead.
So the lead hand of facilities would be responsible for like quotes and doing those small projects. So that would be the expectation, is that they have some ability to do
so
trim, like
that's what I
those
mean,
small
that's what I'm
things.
getting at, so that person would be.
Absolutely, and they're an operator as well, so it's a working position. It's not gonna be a desk. There's gonna be components that are calling and getting quotes and those types of things, but it's largely going to be
A person.
hands-on.
So just so, then that would remove workload from other people that are in this building.
Yeah, so basically what it will do will assist, so, like if I'm looking at the grant applications, instead of me having to get the quotes, do the grants, do the application, follow up, I would give that to the facilities person, they would get all the quotes, bring them to me so I can just do the grant application.
That's.
And then if we're successful in grant application, they get given the workload to make sure the contractors complete the work and they're on site instead of me running out to do that. So it would just be much more efficient and allow you guys to pay me to do really what I should be doing, is that's more the high level planning and projection for the township.
That's what
Okay,
we want.
thank you.
I think this is another great opportunity to repurpose a tool that we already have. Spend a little bit of money and make it work in the township's best interest and be able to get more done. I know we've kind of all internally talked about having another person kick around in the summer because of the workload, the things that come up, the unplanned, the unfortunate, and all that being said. So I think this is definitely something to look into and definitely worth going forward on. Anyone else, anything? Moved by Councillor Bass, second by Councillor Johnson. The council direct staff to not surplus the 2008 John Deere wheeled excavator and to keep the unit in fleet. And that council approves the 2026 budget line on 10,000 of repairs and maintenance of the unit for 2026. And the council directs the staff to advise council each year on the value versus cost on this unit to determine the appropriate time to dispose of the unit. And further, council directs staff to prepare a job description for facilities lead hand equipment operator position to be approved by council. All in favor? All.
So just for clarity to council, I think that it's important to note that if we don't hire another person, there's not a lot of. To keep the other unit is not have a lot of value because we still need so many people.
Okay. No reports of committees, no petitions, no motion or notice of motion. No unfinished business. Anything online, no one in the audience. Moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Deputy Carroll, the committee of the whole meeting for October 7th, 2025, now be adjourned at 7:30 p.m. All in favor? Thank you, everybody, and you'll do a great job.
That's your ending speech.
Yeah,
Yeah, good luck. Aren't you doing it next?
Welcome back. So we're moved by Councillor Bass, seconded by Councillor Johnson. The council resumes the council meeting at 7:32 p.m. All in favor? That's great. Ooh, gotta read this one. So moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor Crabtree. The council moved into closed session at 7:33 p.m. as per section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 SO 2001 C25 in order to address 4 items. Item 1, potential company agreement transfer update. Chambers Street underpass update, human resources probationary period, human resources staffing update, more specifically. 239 2B, personal matters of identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. 239 2E, litigation for potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. 239 2K, position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to negotiations carried on for behalf of the municipality or local board. And then municipal manager, treasurer, deputy clerk Allison Braken, and clerk planning manager Kristen Cote remain in the room for all items. All in favor? That's carried. Everybody out.